not need to be tested. When we are doing this in reviews, we should check the things that cannot be tested which are written in my requirements. Let me give you an example. Say there was a very famous ceiling fan ad which said my ceiling fans can work continuously for 25 years. Now to test this, I need to run a ceiling fan for 25 years to prove that my ceiling fan really works for 25 years, isn't it? And what if my ceiling fan stops working at the 24th year? I have to run it again for 25 years, giving me a total testing time of around 49 years, which will be too much for me. Now these are the kind of statements you should look in your requirements, and that should come under the scope of what not to be tested. So any time when you are testing your scope, it is what not to be tested that should come under here. For example, my server should be robust is something that you really cannot test. My server should always work. Always work? What? When I cut the power supply, even then they should work? So there are few requirements that you cannot test. So analysis first part is you review the test basis. So what you can see right on the screen now is analysis first thing is you review the test basis. Now when you review the test basis, this means all the design documents, all the requirement documents, network architects, system architects, quality risk. So any document that you have thought of which will help you in your testing, you should review that and they all become your test basis. Based on this review, you identify and prioritize your conditions, your requirements or your objectives. And thus you also identify the test data based on the analysis of these test items. Now, there are very few people who understand the importance of understanding the test data and why test data is important. If you go to say people who are in healthcare domain or people in banking domain, they will understand that sometimes executing a test case takes less time and creating a test data behind the test case takes more than, typically 3 or 4 times more than the execution of the test case. So the time required to execute that test case. What this tells us? This tells us that when I'm creating the test data, I should take the total time. When I'm thinking of the total time or I am estimating the total time, I should take that creation of test data into the execution, and thus my total execution time will increase. And finally, during analysis, you evaluate the testability of your requirements and system. So whatever that is not to be tested, that should come here. You check that every statement that you are saying can be tested. You evaluate that yes, it can be tested, and you have something in your mind on how to test it. You can use any of the techniques. You can use black box, white box, or you can use exploration or anything. But when you say that yes, I can test these requirements, then everything must be testable. During design, as the name suggests, you prioritize your combinations of data, actions, and expected results. You identify infrastructure and the tools. You design the test environment. For example, say I have to check all the configurations. There are say I want to test a website on different configurations using different Flash objects. What will I do? Say I have a combination of where I need to test it on operating system, say XP, and then I need 3 different browsers, and I need different flashes or different versions of Flash on those browsers, say Flash 9.0.15, 9.0.24, 10.0 something, and blah 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 and all that. What I can do is, now here when I'm designing my test environment, I'll make sure that I have supporting software that I need, which will be part of my test environment. For example, in order to create all these configurations on a single machine, I might require VMware. So here is where I get a chance to tell my leadership team or management that apart from the operating systems, apart from the browsers, apart from the hardware costs, I also require a software to minimize my hardware costs. Instead of buying 3 or 4 different hardware combinations, I can do it on just one machine with VMware installed on it. So it depends, how you design your and how you think of designing your test environments. Obviously, the test data that is needed for conditions and test cases is very much relevant during the design phase. As I told you, I'll be taking risk as my basis for everything. So let's say how test development happens and what are the phases of test development. So you can see that I have the risk analysis. Now, in order to have my risk analysis, the inputs that I will have is project plan, requirements, and system designs, and the output products I will get out of the first phase is my risk analysis and traceability documents. During the high-level test design, during my high-level test design, I'll have system design, detailed design, and existing tests. If it is, a modification of an existing system, for example, you are testing Acrobat 9 and you already have test cases or something for Acrobat 8, you can use them in your high-level test design, and the output you will get is test design documents, test suits, and again the further traceability of everything. And at the low-level test designing, what you do is you take inputs as detailed designs which have come from high-level test designs, again existing test cases at a lower end, and early versions. Now if I take you one step back, during the analysis and design, always remember that when we write these test conditions and we typically test conditions, or anything that we write is in the form of test cases which are logical in nature, so they don't have any test data. So typically at the high level test design, here we will have these logical test cases coming out, and then we add test data and everything and write them step by step in low level test design. Let's see how we do analysis. So the idea is that once we have done our quality risk analysis, once we have just hold on. Okay. Okay. At the analysis phase, you have these quality risk that you have identified. Now here you can see 1.0 says quality risk category 1, 1.1 says quality risk, and then there are few quality risks, then quality risk category 2, quality risk category 3, and all that. So what we have is we have defined different risks, and we have categorized them under different headings. For example, all the functional risks will go under quality risk category 1. So you can have functionality as a quality risk category 1, and then you can have 1.1, 1.2, and 3 as different risks under functionality. For example, security can be one of the risks if I'm going through a very informal way of identifying risks. At the high level test design, what I do is I create test suits for every